Lads, lassies, welcome back to the YouTube, and today we're picking up where we left off in the last video, which was the easiest way to get up on a wakeboard. And then today we're going to talk about how to get to an obstacle standard where you can start hitting rails, kickers, and doing all sorts of mad tricks. So we're going to cover 4 things in this video, and those are effectively the 4 essential things you need to do, the stepping stones to getting on top of a rail or onto a kicker. So number 1 on the essential items, or the essential tricks that you need to be able to do before you're at a standard where you can take an obstacle, is to be able to ride back and forth switch. So effectively, most of us, when we learn how to wakeboard, we tend to be predominantly with our right foot forward or our left foot forward, and switch is the opposite of that. So I would suggest learning how to wakeboard all over again and getting up with the opposite foot forward. Another thing that you can do is you can do what's called a surface 180. This is where you're riding along and you do a surface slide on the water and you go the opposite direction. Now, a quick tip on that is to always keep your head up, and when you're going across, try and lean a little bit on your heels to keep the front of the board up to avoid getting that dirty face plant and then coming out from it. Essential trick number 2 is the Ollie. Now, if you're into board sports, the Ollie is the same across the board. No pun intended. So whether it's skateboarding, snowboarding or wakeboarding, an Ollie is effectively a little jump off the flat surface. Now, I've done a tutorial on how to Ollie and I'm going to leave the link right there, so if you want to watch that. But a real quick tip is that in wakeboarding it primarily happens off your back foot. So if you're riding along this way, you want to kind of lean onto your back foot and figure out that motion, because if you try and jump off both feet, you tend to stick to the water. So use your back foot more. Number 3 on our essential tricks for getting to obstacle standard is merging number 1 and number 2 together, and it's called an Ollie 180. So we've learnt how to do the surface 180, we've learnt how to do the Ollie. Now we're putting the 2 together to create an Ollie 180, or what used to be known as a bunny hop 180. So for the sake of this example, we're going to be heading in this direction. Now what you want to do is you want to lean on your back foot to do the Ollie. Then, just like the surface 180, you want to keep your head up. You want to avoid looking down, because if you look down, you go down. So on the back foot, keep your head up, and then as you get into the air, you want to effectively pull your back hip up to the handle. As you land, look to the far shore, bend the knees, and boom, Bob's your uncle, you've landed the Ollie 180. Now, number 4 on the essential tricks, or the guide to getting to obstacle standard, is taking corners. Now, I'm not going to make this subject to just a System 2 park or just a full-size cable. What I will say is if you click the link here, you can watch Bally Hass's tutorial on how to take corners. And now if you click here, you can watch my tutorial on how to do a full lap of a cable. There's just some quick tips there, but I would say you want to be able to go back and forth or in a full loop a couple times in a row before you get to the level where you're going to be confident enough to hit your first obstacle. So if you're able to do those 4 things, then the good news is you're obstacle ready to learn it in a really safe manner. Some cable parks have their own criteria. They might add in a surface 360. However, in my opinion, those are definitely, if you can do all that easily, you're going to be good enough to try your first obstacle and not absolutely die. Now the next question is, do you learn a kicker? Do you learn a flat bar or a rail? Again, it completely is dependent on the cable park and what's available to you. What I would say is your first obstacle generally should be backside. So what that means is you're approaching it with your back to the obstacle. The reason for that is you're being pulled in a straight manner, and it's just a little bit easier. The second thing I'd say is whatever obstacle it is, really use your knees as suspension. So don't just have them bent, but have them bending. Try and lower your center of gravity whilst keeping your chest up. So you don't want to, I mean, we're all guilty of this. I actually do this all the time. But when you're on a rail, try not bend like that. Try and really use your knees. And the third thing is, maybe if you're feeling unbalanced, take your backhand off. Those would be my tips. In the next video, maybe not in the next video, but in the next video on this series, we'll talk about how to actually hit your first obstacle. There is some tutorials out there on YouTube, so do have a gander if you're looking to get there now. But nonetheless, thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. I hope it's been beneficial. If you know anyone who's kind of getting to that standard, do send it on to them, and we'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.